Poor village girl walks into the smoke and pulls a dying billionaire out of a burning car. She thinks he's a stranger, but destiny is watching her. Hours later, the billionaire opens his eyes, and his whole body freezes when he sees the bracelet on her wrist. That bracelet, he whispers slowly. My wife put it on our baby the night she died. And the girl, with shaking breath, replies, Sir, this is the only thing I've had since I was a baby. The morning started like every other morning for Amara. She woke up on the hard floor of the abandoned shed she called home. Cold air slipped in through the broken wooden planks, touching her skin like ice. She rubbed her arms, stood up slowly, and folded the thin cloth she used as a blanket. The body felt weak, but she forced a smile and whispered, Another day. I will be fine. She washed her face with water from a cracked bucket and tied her old scarf tightly so her hair looked neat. Even though she owned almost nothing in this world, she tried to keep her dignity. She picked up her wooden tray with a few vegetables and walked toward the village market. The village was waking up. Smoke rose from cooking fires. Goats bleated as children chased them. Sellers shouted prices for yams and cassava. Amara walked to her usual spot, the corner near the mango tree, sat down, and arranged her tomatoes and onions neatly. They were all she had, all she hoped to sell. All she hoped would buy her one small meal today. A group of women selling bigger baskets of vegetables looked at her and whispered, Poor girl. Look at her tray. She will not sell anything again. Amara heard them, but she didn't look hurt. She had learned to swallow her shame like medicine. A young boy ran past her, kicking dust onto her tray. He bumped her arm so hard that her tomatoes rolled into the dirt. The boy laughed with his friends and kept running. Amara didn't shout. She didn't complain. She simply bent down and picked up her tomatoes again, dusting them with her scarf. People walked past her like she didn't exist. She tried calling softly, Fresh vegetables. Small price today. But her voice was lost in the loud market. As she sat quietly, her thoughts went back to memories that hurt more than hunger. She remembered the day Mama Kemi threw her out. The night rain poured like the sky was crying with her. The words still cut her heart. You are not my blood. Your parents left nothing. Go suffer somewhere else. After that night, Amara had lived. Alone, eating once a day if she was lucky, sleeping on cold floors, and dreaming of a life that never came. Her stomach growled loudly. But instead of holding her belly, she looked at the sky and whispered, God, give me strength. At that moment, she noticed an old woman struggling with a heavy basket. Without thinking twice, Amara stood up. Mama, let me help you, she said. The old woman refused at first. My child, you look thinner than my broomstick. Save your strength. But Amara smiled politely. Kindness costs nothing, Mama. It is all I have to give. Wid. She carried the basket across the market for her. When she returned to her spot, 2 onions were missing. Someone had bought them while she was away. It wasn't much, but it gave her hope. Meanwhile, far from the market, a luxurious black car sped down the dusty main road leading toward the village. Inside sat Chief Adebayo, his face pale and tense. He was a powerful man, respected everywhere, but at that moment, he looked fragile. He touched his chest again. The pain was sharp, like someone pushing a knife under his ribs. Ha, not now, he whispered. Please, God. Not now. He tried to slow down, but the pain spread to his arm. His breath became heavy. His vision blurred. His heart raced like it was trying to escape his chest. As the world around him faded, memories rushed forward, memories he wished he could remove from his soul. He saw his wife Chioma, again, her gentle smile, the little laugh she always gave when he teased her. He saw her in the hospital bed 20 years ago, holding their newborn daughter. He remembered touching the baby's tiny fingers. Then he remembered the tragedy. Chioma took her last breath, right after giving birth. And while he cried over her body, his sister-in-law, Folklore, sneaked into the room, took the baby, and disappeared. She stole his child out of jealousy. She wanted all his wealth to go to her own children. He spent 20 years searching. 20 years of suffering. 20 years of hoping. Now, as he struggled to breathe, he whispered, "Chioma, I failed you. I failed you. Weni tu havenum." The car swerved off the road, tumbled into a ditch, and crashed hard. Smoke rose immediately. Flames began crawling under the hood. Back at the market, Amara had just packed her vegetables into her tray. The day had been slow. She sold little. She felt tired and hungry, but she walked slowly toward the road that led home. Then she heard it. A loud crash. She froze. Another sound followed, metal bending, something breaking. She dropped her tray instantly and ran toward the noise. Her heart pounded as she reached the ditch. The car was lying sideways. Smoke filled the air. Flames flickered near the engine. "Somebody help!" she screamed. Two villagers stood far away. One man said, "Ah, it's a rich man's car. Leave him." The woman beside him shook her head. "This is not our business." They walked away. Amara didn't. She slid down the slope and ran to the car. The man inside wasn't moving. Blood trickled down from a cut on his forehead. His chest rose slowly. He was still alive, but barely. "Oh God, please let him live," she whispered. She pulled off her scarf and pressed it against his wound, to stop the bleeding. Her hands trembled. Smoke got thicker. The small flames were growing stronger. "Sir, please, wake up," she begged. Nothing. She grabbed his arm, wrapped it around her shoulder, and tried to pull him out. He was too heavy. Her legs shook, but she kept pulling, inch by inch. Her breath hitched. Tears filled her eyes, but she refused to stop. Finally, his body slid out of the car and hit the ground beside her. She gasped for air, covered in dust and sweat. Just then, the fire reached the car's engine. A loud explosion echoed through the trees. Amara screamed and shielded the man with her own body. A truck appeared on the road. She waved her hands wildly. "Help, please help, this man is dying." The truck screeched to a stop. "Put him inside," the driver shouted. Amara helped lift the unconscious man into the truck. She climbed in beside him, holding his hand tightly as the truck sped toward the village hospital. She whispered, "Please, sir, don't die. Someone loves you. Someone is waiting for you. Please don't die. Number do so. Work him, please." The truck bounced violently on the rough village road, but Amara didn't let go of the man's hand. She kept checking, his breathing, her heart racing faster every time his chest moved slower than before. Dust blew through the open windows, and the smell of smoke from the crash still clung to her clothes. The driver kept looking back at them through the mirror. "Is he still breathing?" the driver shouted. "Yes, but very weak," Amara answered, her voice shaking. "Please, go faster." The driver pressed the accelerator harder, making the old truck rattle like it was about to fall apart. But he didn't stop. He could see fear in the girl's eyes, and something told him this man was important. After what felt like forever, they reached the small village hospital. The building was old, paint peeling from the walls, but it was the only hope they had. The truck screeched to a stop, and Amara jumped out even before the engine died. "Doctor, nurse, somebody help!" She screamed, with all the strength left in her. Two nurses rushed out with a stretcher. Together, they lifted the unconscious man onto it and hurried him inside. Amara followed them, her legs trembling, her hands covered in dirt and dried blood. She looked like she needed medical care herself. But she didn't care. Inside, the smell of medicine and old disinfectant filled the air. The nurses pushed the stretcher into the emergency room while shouting instructions. The doors closed behind them quickly, leaving Amara standing alone in the hallway. Her chest rose and fell in short, panicked breaths. She stared at the closed door, praying silently. She didn't know this man. She didn't know his name, his life, his family. But in that moment, he felt important. She didn't understand why, but she felt connected to him, like destiny was pulling them together. She sank into the plastic chair outside, the emergency room and covered her face with her hands. Her whole body shook. Tears dripped between her fingers. She wasn't crying because she was scared. She was crying because she thought she was going to lose him before knowing who he even was. A nurse walked past and stopped. "My child," she said softly. "You should wash your hands. You're covered in blood." Amara looked down. Her hands were shaking. Her scarf, once light yellow, was soaked in dark red. She stood up slowly and followed the nurse to the sink. The cold water ran over her hands, turning pink as the blood washed away. "Don't worry," the nurse said gently. "You saved his life by bringing him here." Amara nodded silently, but her heart was still heavy. After washing up, she returned to the chair outside the emergency room. She sat there, waiting. Minutes turned into an hour. Then 2. She didn't move. She didn't blink much. She just stared at the door. Late in the evening, the doctor finally came out. He looked tired, his forehead shiny with sweat. "Doctor, will he live?" Amara asked in a small voice. "Created. Laughed it is. Claire's and huh. No, my friend." The doctor looked at her for a moment before answering. "You brought him just in time. He had a heart attack. Another few minutes, and he would have died. The bleeding on his head is under control now. He is stable. He to the Patamon. He braided stayed. He is stable." Amara let out a shaky breath she didn't even know she was holding. Her eyes filled with relief. She pressed her hands together and whispered, "Thank you, God. He's a very lucky man." The doctor continued, "If you were not there, he wouldn't be alive." Amara shook her head quickly. "I didn't do anything special. I just couldn't walk away." The doctor gave her a gentle smile. "That makes you special." He walked away, leaving Amara alone again in the quiet hallway. She stood up and walked toward the small window beside the emergency doors. Through the glass, she could see the man lying on the bed, oxygen mask over his face, tubes attached to his arms. He was still unconscious. A nurse came and gently touched Amara's shoulder. "Go home and rest," she said softly. "We will take care of him." Amara shook her head. "No, I will wait. I can't leave him." "But you look tired," the nurse insisted. "You need rest." "I'm fine," Amara replied quietly. He want to be here when he wakes up." The nurse didn't argue further. She walked away, leaving Amara standing alone near the window. Hours passed. The hallway grew quieter. One by one, hospital lights turned off. Nurses changed shifts. Crickets outside chirped loudly as the night deepened. But Amara didn't move. She stood beside the window like a guard protecting someone precious. At one point, she touched her wrist, adjusting the only thing she owned from her past, the thin gold bracelet she wore since childhood. She didn't know where it came from. Her aunt always said, "Your mother put it on you as a baby. Keep it if you want. It's useless to me." Note: the bracelet had strange, old designs. Amara liked it because it was the only connection she had to the mother she never knew well. She ran her fingers over it slowly. Inside the emergency room, the billionaire's chest rose and fell softly. Machines beeped in steady rhythms. His face looked peaceful now, as if he was resting after a long, painful journey. Amara whispered through the glass, "Please wake up, sir. I want to know if you're all right." Suddenly, the sound of footsteps echoed through the hallway. A man in a clean suit entered the hospital, confident, urgent, and serious. His eyes scanned the place until they landed on the emergency room door. He walked fast. This was Mr. Tunde, Chief Adebayo's most trusted assistant. He spotted Amara standing alone outside the emergency room. He didn't know her, but something about her made him pause. He walked up to her. "Were you the one who brought Chief Adebayo here?" Amara nodded nervously. "Yes, sir." Tunde looked shocked. "A young girl like you saved him?" She didn't know what to say. She simply lowered her eyes. Tunde studied her quietly. Dust on her clothes, dirt on her arms, tired eyes. She looked like life had beaten her again and again, yet she stood strong. Then his eyes fell on the bracelet on her wrist. He froze. His heart skipped a beat. He stepped closer. Where did you get that bracelet? Amara quickly covered it with her other hand, confused. My mother gave it to me. When I was a baby. Tunde stared at her, his face changing shock, fear, recognition. He didn't say another word, but inside his mind, something huge clicked. He whispered to himself, No. It can't be. It can't. He looked toward the emergency room, then at Amara again, and for the first time in 20 years, he felt a storm rising. Night covered the village hospital like a dark blanket. But Amara did not leave the hallway. Her legs were tired, her eyes heavy, but her heart refused to go home. She kept looking through the small glass window in the door, watching the man she saved breathe slowly under the machines. Something inside her kept pulling her to stay near him. Mr. Tunde stood at a distance, pretending to check his phone, but his eyes were really watching Amara. Her face, her tired expression, the innocence in her eyes. The way she sat with her arms wrapped around herself for warmth, something about her felt important. Finally, the doctor came out of the emergency room again. He is stable now, he said to Tunde. But he needs rest. He will wake up by morning. Tunde nodded. Then he looked at Amara. You should rest, young lady. She shook her head. I want to stay here. He was alone. I don't want him to wake up without someone beside him. Her voice was soft but full of sincerity. Tunde felt something twist in his chest. This was the kind of girl Chief always talked about. Kind, selfless, gentle. He took a deep breath and stepped closer. Do you know who this man is? Amara shook her head. No, sir. I just saw him hurt, and I couldn't leave him. Tunde stared at her bracelet again, the one with the strange gold design and initials lightly carved on the side. He whispered, Unbelievable. Sir? Amara asked quietly. Tunde quickly straightened his face. Nothing. Don't worry. He didn't want to ask more questions until Chief woke up. They needed confirmation. Hours passed. Nurses moved in the hallway. A few patients' relatives came and left. But Amara stayed where she was. She hadn't eaten anything since morning. Yet when a nurse offered her food, she politely refused. Give it to someone who needs it, she said. The nurse stared at her in surprise. Child, you need it too. But Amara only smiled weakly and stayed seated. By early morning, the sky outside turned orange. Birds began to chirp. The hospital slowly came alive again. Amara's eyes were heavy, but she didn't let herself sleep. Suddenly, a soft sound came from inside the room. Amara stood up fast. The nurse rushed in first, then Tunde. Chief Adebayo's fingers twitched. His eyes moved under his eyelids. Then, slowly, he opened them. Sir, can you hear me? The nurse said. Chief blinked, confused at first, breathing deeply. He looked around the room, slowly. His mind felt heavy, but he was awake. Tunde leaned closer. Chief, it's me. You're safe. Chief's eyes focused. He recognized Tunde. He opened his mouth slightly. His voice was weak. Where am I? Where am I? Where? In a small village hospital, Tunde explained. There was an accident. Someone saved you. Chief blinked. Saved? Me? Yes, Tunde said. A girl. A young girl. Something flashed across Chief's face. Where is she? Outside, Tunde replied softly. She hasn't left since she brought you here. Chief closed his eyes, for a moment, as if he was gathering strength. Then he whispered, Bring her to me. Tunde nodded and stepped out into the hallway. He looked at Amara, who stood frozen, nervous. He wants to see you, Tunde said gently. Amara swallowed hard. Her feet felt heavy. She looked down at her hands, then slowly followed Tunde into the room. Inside, Chief Adebayo lay on the bed, looking weak but alive. Amara stopped near the door, unsure if she should go closer. Chief turned his head toward her. When he saw her, His eyes widened slightly. For a moment, the room felt silent. He stared at her face, her eyes, her nose, her expression. He breathed out slowly. You saved my life. You, Amara nodded shyly. I just did what anyone would do, sir. Chief shook his head gently. No, not anyone. Many people passed by. Did they not? Her silence was the answer. He reached out his hand slightly. Come closer, child. Amara walked slowly to his bedside. When she came near, Chief's eyes fell on her bracelet. His whole body stiffened. That bracelet, he whispered. Amara looked down. My mother gave it to me. Or that's what I was told. I don't remember much. Chief swallowed hard. His heart began to beat faster, not from sickness, but from something deeper. I have seen that bracelet before, he said quietly. Amara looked confused. Sir? Chief stared into her eyes. Something in them, something deep, felt familiar. He felt his throat tighten. A mixture of hope and fear filled him. What is your name? He asked. Amara, she answered softly. Your parents? He continued. They died when I was 17. I lived with my aunt before, but she didn't want me. She didn't want me. Chief's face changed. Your birth parents? Amara shook her head. I don't know anything about them. I just know the parents who raised me were not my real parents. My aunt said she took me when I was a baby. I want to... Chief felt chills down his arm. He whispered, a baby. With a bracelet like this. Tunde quietly stepped forward, watching everything carefully. He didn't want to interrupt. Chief looked at Amara's face again. Her eyes. They reminded him of Chioma. The same shape. The same softness. The same sadness. His voice broke slightly. Child, where did your aunt find you? I don't know. Amara replied honestly. She never told me. She just said she took me from someone far away. Chief took a deep breath. Tears gathered in his eyes. Amara panicked. Did I say something wrong? Chief shook his head slowly. No, my child. You said everything right. He reached for her hand and held it weakly. Thank you for saving me. You didn't know who I was, yet you risked your life. Amara felt her throat tighten. Anyone would do the same, sir. Chief smiled sadly. Not anyone. But you did. No. Tunde took a step forward. Chief. Should we? Chief interrupted him softly. Yes, start it. Amara looked at them, confused. Start what? Tunde gave her a gentle look. Nothing to worry about. Chief only wants to do a small medical test. A simple one. Tentabration. Amara blinked. A medical test? Why? Chief hesitated. For my health, and maybe for answers. Amara didn't understand, but she nodded. If it helps you, sir, I will do it. Chief smiled faintly. Thank you, Amara. A nurse entered to prepare for the test. As Amara stepped away, Chief watched her, like a man watching a miracle he couldn't believe was real. When she walked out of the room, Tunde leaned toward Chief and whispered, Sir, she looks just like Madame Chioma. Chief closed his eyes, tears escaping. I know, he whispered. And if what I feel is true, then God has brought her back to me. Our God. 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 Tunde swallowed hard. We will run the test immediately. Chief nodded slowly. Yes, find the truth. I am ready. Thanks for watching. Outside the room, Amara sat quietly in the hallway again, not knowing her entire life was about to change. Not knowing her true identity was about to rise from the shadows. Not knowing she had just awakened memories buried for 20 painful years. And not knowing she was standing only a few steps away from the father who had searched for her his whole life. The days that followed felt strange for Amara. She returned to her small village, carrying her wooden tray like always. But her mind was still in the hospital. She kept thinking about the rich man she saved, his gentle eyes, the way he held her hand as if she mattered. No one had ever done that for her. Not since her parents died. She walked through the market with her vegetables, but her heart felt heavy. Mama Kemi appeared suddenly, marching toward her with her loud voice and sharp eyes. "Amara," she shouted. "Where have you been? People said you went to the hospital. Did you break something? Did you steal?" Amara lowered her eyes. "No, Aunt Kemi. I helped someone," Mama Kemi scoffed loudly. "Help? You? Look at you. You can't even help yourself." People around them laughed. Amara held her tray tightly, forcing a small smile to keep her tears from falling. "Mama," Kemi continued, "since your parents died, I fed you. I clothed you. That's not true." Amara whispered before she could stop herself. Mama Kemi's eyes widened. "What did you say?" Amara stepped back. "You drove me out of your house." Mama Kemi slapped her tray, making the vegetables fall. "Ungrateful girl. Everything you are is because of me." Amara bent down silently to pick up her tomatoes. Her fingers trembled as she wiped dirt off them. People watched, but no one helped. No one cared. Later that night, Amara returned to her small shed. She tried to sleep, but her mind drifted back to the hospital, the man on the bed, the bracelet conversation. Tunde's strange look. She touched the bracelet again. Its gold felt warm against her skin. She whispered, "Mama, who were you? And where did I come from? Where did Herring to?" Meanwhile, in Chief Adebayo's mansion, things were moving fast. The grand house stood tall with shining floors and guards at the gate. But inside, the air was tense. Chief sat in his study, staring at a framed photo of Chioma holding their newborn daughter 20 years ago. His fingers touched the glass softly, and a tear slid down his cheek. Tunde entered quietly. "Sir, we traced the bracelet's design." "Sir, we traced the bracelet's design." Chief sat up straight. "Tell me." Tunde placed a small file on the table. "Only 2 bracelets were ever made with this pattern. One was buried with Madame Chioma. The other was placed on your baby daughter the night she was born." Chief's hand shook. "And Amara? Her bracelet?" "It is the same design, sir," Tunde said softly. "Exactly the same." Chief pressed his hand to his forehead, overwhelmed. "Then, she might be the one." Tunde nodded. "We already sent the samples to the lab. DNA results will arrive in a week." Chief closed his eyes and whispered, "God, if this is real, if she is mine." His voice broke. Tunde watched him with sadness. For 20 years, he had seen Chief suffer silently. If this girl truly was the lost daughter, everything would finally make sense. To uncover more, Chief hired Detective Ojo, the best investigator he knew. The detective bowed respectfully. "Chief, I will find the truth. I already started looking into the woman who raised Amara." Chief whispered, "Find out everything. I want to know the life my daughter lived, while I searched for her endlessly." 1. Detective Ojo left immediately, determined. Days passed slowly. While the investigation continued, Amara struggled through her daily life without knowing her future was changing behind her back. She had nothing to eat except a small loaf of bread an old woman gave her. She drank water from the village well and slept on the cold shed floor again. On the 3rd night, a knock came at her shed door. Amara froze, fear rushing through her veins. Nobody came to see her at night. She hesitated before opening the door slightly. There stood Mr. Tunde, dressed neatly, his car parked outside the shed. "Amara," he said gently. "Chief Adebayo wants to see you." Amara blinked in shock. "Me? Why?" Tunde smiled softly. "Because you saved his life, and because he wants to thank you properly." "But," Amara looked down at her old dress, her dirty feet. "But, I don't look like someone who should enter a rich man's house. Chief doesn't care about that, Tunde replied. He cares about you. Something warm filled her chest. She followed Tunde to the car and sat quietly in the back seat. As the car moved through the Actizator, as once the quarter of the village, people stared. Some whispered, "What is Amara doing in that rich man's car? She must have done something." Poor girl acting big. Amara ignored them and looked out the window, nervous. When the car reached Chief's mansion, she gasped. The house was huge, bigger than anything she had ever seen. Tall pillars, shining windows, flowers lining the walkway. It felt like another world. Tunde escorted her inside. Servants stared at her in confusion. She kept her hands close to her body, scared she might break something. Chief Adebayo sat in the living room, dressed in a soft robe, looking healthier. When he saw her, he smiled warmly. "Amara," he said softly. "Come sit near me." Amara hesitated. "Sir, I am afraid I will dirty your chair." Chief laughed gently. "You saved my life. You have the right to sit anywhere in this house." She sat slowly, her heart pounding. Chief looked at her hands. "Amara, when did you last eat?" She lowered her eyes. "Yesterday, I think." Chief's face dropped. He turned to a servant immediately. "Bring her food. Proper food." Within minutes, a tray of warm rice, chicken, and vegetables arrived. Amara stared at it like it was a dream. Chief watched her carefully as she began eating slowly, almost shyly. "You eat like someone who has been starving for a long time," Chief whispered. Amara stopped. I don't eat much, sir." "Why?" "I don't have much, sir," she replied, softly. "It is okay. I am used to it." Chief's heart broke as he listened. He couldn't imagine his daughter if she truly was his daughter living like this. After she finished eating, Chief cleared his throat. "Amara, I want to ask something from you." "Something important," Amara nodded nervously. "Yes, sir?" "Frun." "Guess, sir?" "It is a simple DNA test," he said carefully. "Just to check something." She blinked. "DNA? Like in the movies?" Chief smiled slightly. "Yes, just to confirm something for my health. Nothing to fear." "I will do it," she said without hesitation. "If it helps you, sir, I am ready." Hesitation. 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 Chief stared at her, moved by her purity. "Thank you, Amara." As she stood up to leave, Chief whispered, "You remind me of someone. Someone precious." Amara smiled shyly. "I don't know why, sir, but I feel comfortable with you." Chief felt tears sting his eyes. "We will meet again soon," he promised. Amara left the mansion with her heart full, but her mind confused. She felt something pulling her toward Chief, something she couldn't explain. And in the mansion, Chief turned to Tunde with a trembling voice. "If that test says what I think it will." He paused, unable to finish. Tunde nodded. "Your life will change." Chief looked out the window, his eyes filled with hope and fear. "I pray it changes the way my heart says it will," he whispered. Far away in the city, Detective Ojo was already uncovering secrets from 20 years ago. Secrets that would shake the entire Adebayo family. And Amara had no idea. Her real identity was only days from being revealed. A full week passed before the DNA results finally arrived. Amara spent those days quietly in her village, selling vegetables, and trying to stay away from Mama Kemi's anger. Something inside her felt different now. She didn't know why. But ever since she met Chief Adebayo, her heart felt warmer, fuller, like a missing part of her life had suddenly woken up. Every evening, she sat outside her shed and looked at the sky. She would touch her bracelet and whisper, "God, what is happening to me? Why do I feel connected to that man?" But the wind carried away her questions. Meanwhile, in Chief's mansion, the atmosphere was different. Everyone moved quietly. No one spoke loudly. They all sensed something big was coming. Chief barely slept. Every night, He held the old photo of his baby daughter. Every night, he whispered, "Chioma, maybe our child is alive. Maybe she is near." Tunde stayed close to him, watching the pain and hope mix in his eyes. He knew the moment those results arrived, everything would change either in joy or in heartbreak. Finally, early in the morning, Detective Ojo entered the mansion carrying a sealed white envelope. His face was serious. He didn't say a word as he walked straight into Chief's study. Chief stood up slowly from his chair, his hands already shaking. "Sir," the detective said gently, "the results are here." Chief swallowed hard. His fingers trembled as he reached for the envelope. For a moment, he couldn't open it. The fear was too strong. What if he was wrong? What if Amara was just a kind girl and not his child? What if he lost hope again? Tunde stepped forward. "Sir, whatever the result is, we will face it together." Chief nodded weakly, took a deep breath, and tore open the envelope. The room went silent. The only sound was the slow rustling of paper as Chief unfolded the report. His eyes moved. Across the page, his breath caught. His knees almost gave way. He clutched the table for support. Tunde rushed forward. "Chief? What does it say?" Chief's voice broke as he whispered, "She is mine. She is my daughter." Tunde froze. "Sir, are you sure?" Chief held up the paper with shaking hands. 99.9% match. Amara is Chioma's daughter. Nined. 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 For a moment, Chief's emotions burst like a dam. He dropped into his chair, covered his face, and cried deep, painful, relieved tears. Tears that had waited 20 long, lonely years to finally fall. "My daughter. She's alive," he whispered again and again. "God brought her back to me." Tunde placed a hand on his shoulder. "Sir, this is a miracle. Sir." Chief nodded slowly. "The biggest one of my life." But joy didn't last long. Detective Ojo stepped forward, clearing his throat. "Sir, there is something else you need to know." Chief looked up, confused. The detective opened another folder. "I traced information about the woman who raised Amara and her sister." Chief's face darkened. "Mama Kemi." "Yes. What did you find?" Detective Ojo took a deep breath. "Sir, she wasn't just cruel. She was paid to be cruel." Chief's eyes widened. "Paid? By who?" The detective placed photos and documents on the table. "These are money transfers sent every few months. From Auntie Folek's account. Fortnite. 199. Chief's heart dropped. "Folek? My wife's sister?" "Yes," the detective replied. "She paid Mama Kemi and her sister to keep Amara hidden, to keep her poor, to make sure she never had a chance to rise." Chief felt heat boil in his chest. "Why? Why would she do that to an innocent child?" Detective Ojo's eyes hardened. "Because if your daughter stayed alive and well, she would inherit your estate. Folaki wanted all the wealth to go to her own children." Chief clenched his fists. "She stole my baby. She destroyed her life. She made her suffer while I searched everywhere. Like a madman." Tunde spoke carefully. "Sir, what will you do?" Chief stood up slowly. His face was no longer weak. It was strong, burning with anger and purpose. "I will confront Mama Kemi first. She must tell me everything." Meanwhile, in the village, Amara sat under a tree eating a small piece of boiled cassava when she saw a black car stopping near her shed. Her heart jumped. She recognized that car. Tunde stepped out first. Then Detective Ojo. And then Chief Adebayo himself. Amara stood up quickly, almost dropping her food. "Sir, you came here?" Chief walked toward her slowly. His eyes softened the moment he saw her. "Amara, my child." His voice trembled, but he kept his composure. "I need you to come with me," he said gently. "There are things you must know. Things about your past." Amara looked confused, scared. "Sir, Did I do something wrong? No, Chief said softly. You did everything right. You have done nothing wrong in your whole life. He placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. Come with us. Please. Still confused, Amara nodded slowly. She climbed into the car. Her hands shook slightly. She didn't know why they were taking her. But inside her heart, she felt a strange pull like something big was coming. The car drove toward Mama Kemi's house. When they arrived, Mama Kemi was outside washing clothes. She froze when she saw the car and the men stepping out. Chief Adebayo stood tall in front of, to her. You are Mama Kemi? Her voice cracked. Yes, sir. I am. Chief's expression turned dark. Tell me about Amara. Tell me how she came to you, Mama Kemi stammered. I don't remember, sir. It has been long. Detective Ojo stepped forward, holding documents. Stop lying. Mama Kemi's face turned pale. He held up the papers. We have every money transfer you received. Every payment from Auntie Folklore. Tell the truth now, or face prison. Mama Kemi's legs shook. She dropped to her knees. Please, sir. Please forgive me. She. Helver. To spawner. 2,000. More, cried. It wasn't my idea. My sister. She took the baby from the city hospital 20 years ago. Folklore paid her to hide the child and keep quiet. Amara's heart pounded. Hide. Who? Mama Kemi covered her face. You. Amara. You were the baby. Amara stepped back, shaking. Me? But why? Why would anyone hide me? Mama Kemi sobbed. Folklore said you were unwanted, that your father didn't want you, that you must never rise, never be somebody. Chief stepped forward, his voice shaking with anger. And you believed her? You tortured my daughter for money? Mama Kemi stared at him in shock. Daughter? Sir, what are you saying? Chief's voice rose with 20 years of pain. Amara is my daughter. The child Folklore stole from me. Folklore. Mama Kemi fell silent, horror spreading across her face. Amara felt the world spinning around her. His daughter? Sir. Me? No. This cannot be. Chief turned to her, tears filling his eyes. Amara. It's true. You are my child. Amara's lips trembled. Her breath shook. Everything she knew, every memory suddenly felt like lies. She whispered, Sir. Why me? How? I don't understand. Chief stepped closer. You don't need to understand it all today. But know this. I searched for you all my life. I never stopped. Amara looked at him, tears filling her eyes. Sir, I suffered so much. Chief gently held her hands. You will suffer no more. I will never let anyone hurt you again. More. Behind them, Mama Kemi sobbed. But no one paid attention to her anymore. A truth greater than her lies had finally come out, and standing in the sunlight, with her bracelet shining softly, Amara finally began to feel something she never felt before, belonging. The news that Chief Adebayo had found his long-lost daughter spread faster than Harmattan wind. Before the sun even rose the next day, whispers had already reached the big city where Auntie Folklore lived in her mansion. She sat in her luxurious living room, wearing a gold robe and sipping expensive tea. When her friend rushed in breathlessly, Folklore! Have you heard? Chief found the girl. He found his daughter. One of the docs won. He found his daughter. 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 The teacup slipped from Folklare's hand and shattered on the floor. Her heart froze. What did you say? She asked quietly. They say the girl is from some poor village. The play. Chief did a DNA test. It's confirmed. Folklare's hands shook. She stood up slowly, her eyes filled with panic. No. No. It can't be true. That girl should be gone. She should have stayed hidden. Her friend stepped back. Folklore. What exactly did you do 20 years ago? No. Folklore didn't answer. Instead, she walked to her window and stared outside, breathing heavily. Her mind raced if the girl returned. Everything she built for her own children would collapse. Her sons and daughters would lose their chance at inheritance. Her influence in the family would disappear. She had spent years controlling Chief's wealth through manipulation, guilt, and lies. And now, a simple poor girl Amara was about to destroy all of that. Folklore picked up her phone and dialed a number. "Come to my house," she snapped. "Bring the lawyer. Bring the lawyer." Her friend tried to calm her. "Don't do anything foolish. The chief is powerful." Folklore turned sharply, her eyes burning with anger. "And I am not powerless. I hid that girl for 20 years. I made sure she stayed invisible. I did not come this far to lose now," her friend whispered. "Folklore, you stole a baby." Folklare's voice dropped low and venomous. "I took what I deserved." Hours later, her lawyer arrived. Together, they planned their attack. "We will challenge the DNA," the lawyer said confidently. "We will claim the test was manipulated. That girl has no proof of identity. She grew up in poverty. She could easily be lying." Folklore smiled slowly. "Yes. And spread rumors. Tell people she tricked Chief. Tell them she planned the rescue. Tell them she wants to steal everything." The lawyer nodded. "I will handle it." Folklore leaned back in her chair, bitterness twisting her face. "Good. Because I did not hide her for 2 decades just to lose everything today." Meanwhile, Amara was still in shock from the truth she heard at Mama Kemi's place. Chief had taken her to the mansion afterward, insisting she stay there for the night. She was given a warm bath, clean clothes, and a soft bed to sleep on, things she had never experienced in her whole life. But Amara could not sleep. She lay on the soft mattress, staring at the ceiling. Her mind spun with confusion, fear, hope, and disbelief. Chief Adebayo, her father? She touched her bracelet, gently. It didn't feel like just jewelry anymore. It felt like a key to a past she never knew, a doorway to a life she never imagined. She whispered into the darkness, "Mama, if you can hear me, who was I? Why did they hide me?" One. A tear rolled down her cheek. In another room of the mansion, Chief also could not sleep. He walked back and forth, holding the DNA papers in his hands. Every time he looked at them, he felt joy and pain mixed together. Joy because his daughter was alive, pain because she suffered while he lived in comfort. He whispered to the air, as if speaking to his late wife, Chioma. "I found her. Chioma, our little girl. But I was too late to save her childhood." He sank into a chair and covered his face. "Please, forgive me." The next morning, Amara was invited to have breakfast with him. She walked into the dining room shyly. It felt like a palace. Gold decorations, clean white plates, shining cutlery. She had never held such expensive things in her hands before. Chief smiled warmly as she approached. "Good morning, Amara." "Good morning, sir," she whispered. He motioned to a seat beside him. "Sit, my child. You must be hungry." She sat gently, careful not to touch anything by mistake. The table was filled with food, bread, fruits, eggs, soup. Amara stared at it like it was magic. "Eat," Chief said softly. "You are safe here." She nodded and picked up a small piece of bread. She took tiny bites, almost afraid to finish it. Chief watched her with sadness. "Amara," he said quietly, "did Mama Kemi treat you very badly?" Amara paused. "She fed me sometimes, when she had extra. But most days, I found my own food." "Well," Chief's jaw tightened. "And your childhood? Were you treated well?" Amara looked down. I don't remember much joy, sir. But I am still grateful. I survived." Chief closed his eyes for a moment, fighting tears. My child. You deserve more than survival. She looked up at him. Sir, is it really true that I am your daughter? Chief reached across the table and held her hand gently. Yes, Amara, you are my child. I searched for you for 20 long years. Her eyes widened. But how? Why did they take me away? Chief exhaled slowly, pain filling his face. Because someone wanted my wealth for themselves. Someone who feared you would stand in their children's way. Amara's heart sank. Auntie Folake? Auntie, he nodded. Amara's hands shook. But I was a baby. How could anyone hurt a baby? Chief stood up and walked to her side. He pulled her gently into a hug. I'm sorry, Amara. I'm so sorry I couldn't protect you. Amara burst into tears and clung to him. For the first time in her life, she felt the warmth of a father's embrace, even if it was 20 years late. But happiness didn't last long. Tunde rushed into the dining room, holding his phone. His face looked tense. Sir, we have a problem. Chief pulled away from the hug. What happened? Tunde swallowed hard. Folake filed a lawsuit. She is claiming Amara is a liar. She says Amara manipulated the DNA test. Amara gasped. Liar? But I didn't do anything. Chief's eyes darkened. Of course you didn't. This is Folake's doing, Tunde continued. She hired a strong lawyer, and she already spread rumors in the city. People are calling Amara a gold digger who planned the rescue. Amara felt her heart drop. Why are they saying this? I don't even know anything about money. Chief placed his hand on her shoulder. Don't worry, my child. I know the truth. We will fight this. But Tunde shook his head. There is more. Folake also hired some dangerous men. They are after Amara. Chief's eyes widened. What? Amara stepped back in fear. Dangerous men? Yes, Tunde said firmly. We have to be careful. Chief turned to Amara. You must not leave this house alone. You are safe here. But Amara felt something heavy in her chest. She didn't want to cause trouble for him. She didn't want to bring danger into his life. Later that afternoon, despite the warnings, Amara insisted on going to the village one last time to say goodbye to the few people who were kind to her. I won't be long, she said. Chief wanted to refuse, but he saw the pleading look in her eyes. She needed closure. He allowed it with Tunde's driver following her from a distance. The village market was crowded as usual. When Amara arrived, people stared, whispering loudly, That's the girl, the billionaire's new daughter. She's fooling him. Her luck is fake. Amara felt her throat tighten but kept walking. Suddenly, 3 rough-looking men stepped in front of her. Their smiles were sharp and cruel. You're Amara, right? One asked. Yes, she whispered. Another grabbed her arm roughly. Listen, girl. Leave the chief alone. Forget that mansion. Forget this whole story. Or you will pay. Amara trembled. Please. Let me go. They pushed her. Her clothes tore at the shoulder. Villagers gasped. Well. One man ripped the bracelet off her wrist. We'll take this. Maybe then you'll listen. Maybe then you'll listen. No. Please give it back. Amara cried desperately. This is your aunt. Last warning, the man said coldly. Disappear, or you will regret it. They shoved her to the ground and ran away. Amara sat in the dirt, shaking and crying, her wrist bare. That bracelet was the only piece of her mother she had left. Losing it felt like losing her identity all over again. Village women rushed to her. Child, are you okay? We chased them, but they escaped. You must tell the chief. Amara cried harder. They took my bracelet. They took everything. Tunde's driver rushed to her and pulled her up gently. Miss, we must go. Right now, Amara nodded weakly. She was trembling so badly she could barely stand. When she returned to the mansion, Chief saw her torn clothes, her bruised arm, and her empty wrist. His eyes filled with fury. Who did this to you? He shouted. Amara burst into tears. They took my bracelet. Mama's bracelet. I begged them, but they didn't care. Chief hugged her tightly. I won't let this happen. I won't let anyone hurt you again. This is enough. Tunde stepped forward. Sir, we must take legal action immediately. Folak cannot get away with this. Chief nodded angrily. Prepare everything. We will go to court. Amara will tell her story. And Folake will answer for her crimes. Amara wiped her tears. Sir, I don't want your money. I just want my father. I just want a home. Chief cupped her face gently. And you have one now. For the first time in your life. You are home, but outside the mansion's gate, hidden in a dark car. Auntie Folake watched with burning anger. She clenched her teeth and whispered, This girl has no idea who she's fighting. The day of the court hearing arrived like a dark cloud hanging over the entire Adebayo family. People filled the courthouse hallway. Journalists, curious villagers, wealthy families. Everyone wanted to see the poor village girl who claimed to be the billionaire's daughter and the powerful woman who tried to bury the truth. Amara stepped out of the car slowly, her heart beating fast. She wore a simple but clean dress Chief bought for her. Her hands trembled slightly, but she kept her head up. Chief Adebayo walked beside her, holding her hand gently like a father guiding a scared child. Tunde followed behind them, carrying all the documents, DNA results, money, transfer records, hospital papers, photos. They were ready. As they walked into the courtroom, Auntie Folake was already there, sitting proudly with her expensive clothes and her lawyer beside her. She pretended to look calm, but her eyes were full of hatred. Folake leaned toward her lawyer and whispered, Destroy them. Make the judge believe she is a liar. Her lawyer nodded. The judge entered, and everyone stood up. When the session began, Folake's lawyer spoke first. His voice was loud and confident. My lord, we are here to prove that this young village girl, Amara, is manipulating the situation to steal the wealth of Chief Adebayo. She planned the rescue. She faked the DNA test. She is a fraud. Known. Amara felt her stomach twist painfully. She looked down, trying not to cry. Chief squeezed her hand gently, whispering, Don't worry, my child. Truth, always, wins. Then Amara's lawyer stood up. My lord, these are false accusations. Here we present hospital reports, birth records, financial transfers, and 3 separate DNA test results proving that Amara is indeed the biological daughter of Chief Adebayo. He placed all the files on the judge's desk. The judge nodded, listening carefully. Folake's lawyer brought forward the first witness, a man who claimed he saw Amara planning the rescue. I heard her say she wanted to trap the chief. The man lied confidently. Amara felt broken. That's not true, she whispered. The courtroom whispered loudly. People looked at her with judgment in their eyes. Tunde stood up immediately. My lord, this witness was paid by Auntie Folake. We have proof. He handed the judge a phone record showing money sent to the witness the night before. The courtroom gasped. The judge frowned. Sit down. Do not waste my time with lies. Folake's smile faded. Next, it was Amara's turn to stand in the witness box. She walked slowly, her legs shaking. She looked at the judge, then at the courtroom filled with strangers. She took a deep breath. My lord, I don't know anything about money. I don't understand legal things. I don't even know the meaning of inheritance. All I know is that I saw a man dying in a car. I saved him because it was the right thing to do, not because I knew who he was. Her voice cracked. I grew up with pain, hunger, loneliness. I never had a mother or father to hug me. I never had anyone to call family. When I found out the truth, it scared me. I didn't ask for this life. I didn't ask for this name. I only wanted to belong somewhere. Tears streamed down her face, and many people in the courtroom looked moved. She lifted her sleeve, showing scars on her arm. These are from Mama Kemi. She beat me many times. I never complained. I just survived. Folake looked uncomfortable now, shifting nervously. Amara continued. The bracelet they stole from me. It was the only thing from my mother. I begged them not to take it. But they didn't stop. They hurt me just to make me leave the chief. But I don't want his money. I don't want his wealth. I only want my father, someone I can love. Someone who finally loves me. The judge stayed silent for a long moment. The entire room was silent. Even Folake's lawyer seemed shaken. Finally, Chief Adebayo stood up slowly. He walked toward his daughter with tears in his eyes. My lord, he said, voice trembling, I am a rich man. But even with all my money, I couldn't buy the happiness I felt when I discovered she is my child. She saved my life before knowing who I was. She risked her own safety. She is the purest soul I have ever seen. He turned to the courtroom. If anyone thinks she wants my wealth, then they do not know her. 42. He placed his arm around her shoulder. She is my daughter. And she deserves every right, every love, every comfort that was stolen from her. End quote. Folake slammed her hand on the table. This is all lies. The judge glared at her. Quiet. Your actions will be addressed soon. Then he looked at Amara with kind eyes, flipped through the documents, and finally lifted his hammer. After reviewing all evidence, he said firmly, the court recognizes Amara Adebayo as the biological daughter of Chief Adebayo. All DNA reports confirm her identity. Financial trails show a long history of payments made by Folake to hide the child. And witness testimonies prove threats and abuse. Folake's face turned pale. The judge continued, Auntie Folake is guilty of kidnapping, fraud, and conspiracy. She is sentenced to 15 years in prison. Folake screamed. No! No! You cannot do this to me! Guards grabbed her arms as she kicked, and shouted. Her children watched in shock as their future fell apart. Mama Kemi was also called. The judge declared her guilty of abuse and involvement in hiding a child. She received a 5-year sentence. She fell to her knees, begging for mercy, but the guards dragged her away. Amara watched, everything with her hands trembling. The world around her felt strange, like she was floating outside her body. Justice had finally spoken, but her heart was full of so many feelings she couldn't describe. Chief hugged her tightly. It's over, my child. You are free now. 1. Amara buried her face in his chest and cried softly. Baba, I never thought I would ever say that word. Chief kissed her forehead. And I never thought I would hold my daughter again. The courtroom clapped softly as father and daughter embraced. Even the judge smiled. Days later, Amara moved permanently into Chief's mansion. She was given her own room, her own clothes, a tutor to teach her, and everything she never had in her childhood. But the most important thing she gained was love. Chief made sure she ate 3 meals a day. He sat with her while she learned to read, taught her about her mother Chioma, and showed her photo albums. Amara looked at her mother's pictures for hours, touching them gently. She was beautiful, she whispered, and you have her eyes. Chief replied softly. One evening, as they sat in the garden, Tunde came rushing with good news. Sir, we found it. Chief stood up quickly. Found what? Tunde opened a small box. Inside it was the gold bracelet, the one Folake's thugs stole. Amara gasped and covered her mouth. Tears filled her eyes instantly. My bracelet, she whispered. Chief took it and placed it on her wrist. This belongs with you, where it always belonged. Amara hugged him tightly. Thank you, Baba. At that moment, the sun set behind them, painting the sky with orange and gold. It felt like a blessing, like the universe telling them their lives were starting anew. Amara looked at the bracelet and whispered, Mama, I'm home. And she truly was. After years of hunger, she found comfort. After years of pain, she found healing. After years of being lost, she found her identity. After years of being unloved, she finally found family. Her life had changed forever, not because she saved a billionaire, but because kindness always returns home. No act of kindness is ever wasted. Even the smallest good deed can become a miracle, and no matter how dark your past is, truth and love always find their way home. If this emotional journey touched your heart, like, comment, kindness wins, share, and subscribe for more powerful African stories. Your support inspires more stories of hope, justice, and destiny.